Hello, everybody, and welcome to CCA Circuit Season 2's Last Chance Qualifier. I'm Kater, joined here today by my wonderful co-caster, Mistaj. How you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing good.
All right,
This
me
is
too. I'm
this is
glad.
everybody's last chance for their playoff dreams. Many dreams will be crushed today,
Yes.
and we get to watch it all happen from the comfort of our chairs here.
Well, hey, they'll be crushed, but they'll also be made, as like you said, this is our team's last chance to qualify for playoffs. That's why they're all here today. So our top four, I believe, from each division that plays here today are going to go.
Is this special best of five?
Yes, it is a best of five.
Yes, best of five. All right, so we still have one more chance for Deep Fish Pizza to bring this back in their favor and stay in
Very
this
much
tournament
so.
here.
Yeah, it being a best of five means a little more room for error. We still have the possibility of a reverse sweep, very much in the realm of possibility. Looking at our third match here that we're going to be seeing, I believe it's Clan Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy. So heading to a different map mode. I think it's opportunity. They could really hold a lot of space using that. They just have to be able to win their fights and continuously hold that map control.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think about our academy having control of that middle area is key because whoever has mid has the game, so that extra paint might be able to pay off. What depends is if we're able to keep that pencil in check, because if that pencil gets positioned up on that mid tower, it could reach all the way to the to your spawn, which can cause a lot of problems here. And without range to contest it, you're just left trying to bomb it out pretty much.
Yeah, they have the bombs. They also have some special that can contest. The strikes are really what come to mind for forcing displacement of that pencil, and then hopefully you can capitalize on that, plus kind of the smokescreen effect that strikes give you to be able to take back control of that top mid tower. But yeah, if OnSU Scarlet gets that pen set up there, which is they're probably really going to want to do, then that is a huge range disadvantage for Defense Pizza, just because of the amount of space control and turf that pencil can put out very quickly. Like you said, that reaches pretty much all the way through flat, and so that also opens up a lot of opportunities for the other members to push up and to take that space. And because that's where the basket is, that's a very important area of the map.
Definitely. Not to also forget as well the Dread Ringer. We saw as well. Yeah. Speaking back of that ramp pushing in the basket, if you can get a well-timed slider with a power clan behind you, that can be a very effective strategy as well, just to run in and just basically suicide bomb the basket.
Yeah, it basically says everybody has to evacuate out from underneath the basket immediately. And if you...
Cover in that kind of situation there. And we see OSU Scarlet taking home our first set here.
Yeah,
Definitely
I'm
one
not
of
even sure.
a quick Clan Blitz game, though. Definitely, I've seen a lot of Clan Blitz games go much longer before anybody gets any points on that board.
I'm not even sure if it was necessarily the consequences of running like anchorless or having a shorter range comp, but maybe the staggering that kind of comes as a result of that. Like especially at the end of that Clan Blitz game there, we saw because you don't. I guess it is kind of an indirect consequence of running anchorless that you don't have that longer range to get the turf or the specials that you want. But there's ways to do it with lower range weapons. It involves a lot of bombs, painting your own turf for specials. But unfortunately, if you don't have the time to do that and you're forced to drop on your own, it makes it so much more difficult to recover because you're dropping into that 1v3, 2v3 sort of situation without the turf, without the specials that you need to break out of that lockout that the other team is forced you into.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, everything there. Let's see. You can't be playing the hero in this game.
No, you can't. Very unfortunate. But I mean, also the speed at which OnSU Scarlet was putting in those clams left almost no room for reaction. Because a lot of the times in those lockout situations, the advice I would give or the actions that I would take kind of ends up being like slow down, paint for your own specials, wait for either like an opportunistic bomb pick or for a special in which that you can drop in with like Crab, like Zuka, like even strikes, things like that. But if all of the clams go in at once, there's no time for you to even get something like that done.
No, yeah. I saw a lot of plays where they would run up with 7 clams before building it in their spawn, which is also very tactical. I saw from them as well. And definitely what you said there, just get enough clams in their base at once and start getting those in. There's really nothing you can do to stop that as your team is in the middle of their respawn timers.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna move on.
Skyfall as well, which could have played a big difference, as we were just talking about there. You really need to get those resources up before you try to take a zone, especially on a map like this where it's split and you got to keep your attention in multiple places like that.
Yeah, those zones are small as well, meaning it's not a lot of effort from you necessarily to take them, but also if you get wiped, the other team is able to paint over that zone pretty much immediately. We also saw, penalty being traded back and forth, especially with Skyfall being able to apply that penalty to blue in the middle of their long, drawn-out push. That gave them a little bit more time to breathe. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough, but it is still very important that you can recognize, like, we need more time. We need to put all resources into this, even if it's not a prolonged hold. It's something that will give us some points on the board that they have to work through.
And I saw some very deadly Zukas as well from that carbon roller up on the middle of that plat there. Those are some nasty angles you can hit there, where if you're not ready for that to come out, they can easily take someone off guard and immediately put you back in that disadvantaged state, which we saw multiple times there as well.
Especially when you're trying to set up on your dome, or even just in that general area of your spawn. Like you said, the places that Zuka can reach from mid, especially if you know how to arc those shots really effectively, can be very surprising. I myself have been on dome and have been taken out by one or two surprise Zuka shots that I was not expecting. And it's very difficult to come back from that.
Yeah. As a former V-Shot player, I've been on both the receiving and the giving end of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Slattlings through and through, so I'm... to do that. I am excited to see some leader gameplay.
I'm also seeing a distinct lack of tactical alert on the side of MTSU Skyfall, trading out the pencil for a tri-stringer, it seems, and trading out the most of the weapons. We got a machine and the Splattershot Pro also being brought out here. Oh, they're just running in. That is a brave bow right there, just running that football straight to their front yard at the start of the game. Didn't seem to work out in their favor, though. Although they might be able to recover this. They have their numbers back up. If they can get there in time, no, they don't. But they are taking a lot of paint up here in the enemy base. If they can build up a clan fast enough, this could be the start of our first push of the game. The football... Yeah.
And I don't think we might see some more follow-up if these dualies are able to get in, but with the presence of blue around this, as well as Saturday pushing forward, they do lose a member, but that is the end of the push right now. Still, though, we have presence from Skyfall around this, with Nova being here, with the Reef Slider coming in directly onto the basket, another pick onto Saturday, unfortunately, and another power clan. They're being absolutely relentless with these pushes.
Absolutely. The basket might have been closed, but that push was not over with them. They stayed in their base as long as they could, keeping their numbers down. You see they able to build up another power clam, though, as they fall back to try and regroup. We got all specials up instead of HLG blue, though, to see if this can stagger Skyfall any. The decav and the 10 going down on HLG blue doesn't seem it mattered as Skyfall proceeds to push back up to get some more clams in that basket there. Got the inkjet being popped, taken zap down with it. It's a 3v3 right now, though, and oh, they just barely missed the shot into the power clam there. Will they be able to get back in there? No, they cannot. The team wipes, and so does their 2 power clams they made. We see we got bubble charged up on the side of decav with the clams across the whole team. On HLG blue already pushed up in their base. That was quick, which is important in this game mode. Pushing in with that tent. Can they make it far? No, they can't. Not quite. Will MTSU Skyfall will be able to defend this ball that's been dropped? Looks like it. Paint's back up on their base with just a leader left online. And it seems we're back to a stalemate here of the score of 50-100.
Especially with the Tetras having their Reef Slater at the ready and the Pro just popping their missiles. Skyfall is in a great position right here getting into the latter half of our match. Oh, as I say that Jet gets absolutely sniped by Neku on that scope, and that Respawn Punisher just adds insult to injury, looking for some more picks here. This is a really nice position for that leader to be in, but they can get threatened by the bow or the Pro or any other longer range on the side of Skyfall. Speaking of Skyfall, they've got this clam up and ready and almost to another set of missiles here, but blue is playing defense right now. Another beautiful snipe coming out here. This leader is really putting in their work. The mine's down by the basket. That is what you love to see. But blue really needs to shift from this defensive mode into offense here, and that's going to be really difficult to do when you're missing your mint decavitator and under constant threat from this Tri-Stringer here that has another jet at the ready. Every moment that they spend on defense is a moment that they are not on offense, and they don't have any clams either, with MTSU Skyfall pretty much hogging all of the turf control.
Definitely, but blue understands the assignment here, putting both the leader and the Zuka right at that bow, forcing them to back up, giving them control of mid here. Seem to have got another power clam up. Oh, but sword goes down. That is 2 go down. That is destructive in this situation here, forcing the ball to jump all the way back and ceding control back to MTSU Skyfall of mid. Zap also goes down, emitting no tactical alerts for quite a while. Oh, and they stagger down with decav as well. If we keep staggering like this, MTSU will be on their front lot in no time. We see we got a holding onto an inkjet here as well, which could be the start of the push. See someone dropping down on the left side though, putting even more pressure on that bow. Oh, but they have to jump out here.
Ooh,
Tetra seems to be leading. 2 more go down on blue with Tetra's front running the push here into their base. Getting some paint down, but the leader's forcing Pro here to play a bit safer. Got a ball up on the side of blue as well here. Seem to be at a bit of a stalemate with Tetra Doolies being the first casualty here. Only 10 seconds left on the clock. Blue's got to push in quickly for overtime. Takes their game.
They are doing their best right here with the leader trying to get those snipes. The decav unfortunately going down as they try and push in. We will see overtime proc here as the leader is holding that clam, trying to hit the snipe here, but the members of Skyfall are just too elusive for them. 3 power clams now as Goggles tries to push up. Saturday launching that tent, but you can see the dualies saying absolutely not. We do see the barrier getting broken. We see a power clam going in. We are 1 point away. They get the lead in that overtime push, able to surge forward with 3 power clams. And like you said, the spinners force them to pick a lane, but it also forces Skyfall to pick a lane on their defense, meaning Saturday and Goggles were able to push that forward as Ivysaur went down on the other lane. The splitting of that resource meant that 1 power clan was able to go in, and from then it was a slippery slope down to that lead swap right at the end.
Yeah, definitely very tragic for MTSU. They had blue on their back foot for most of that game there, but it took one small opening they were able to take at the very end there, and that turned the entire game against them. It's very important to not let your guard down even at the end of the game, because even with a lead like that, until that timer hits 0, it's not over yet.
Yeah, I don't even know if that was necessarily Skyfall letting their guard down so much as it was blue taking that last opportunity by the reins. You know, the overtime siren blaring in your ear, the last chance that you have to get some points on the board there. It can sometimes just send teams kicking into it.
And saying not just last chance for that game, but also last chance for the whole qualifier as well. So we got everything on the line here. Blue takes on one more game. Skyfall is going to be sent home.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at that last game that we might see here in our map list. So, like you said, we're 2-0 in the favor of Blue right now. Of course, this is best of 5, so it's still anyone's game. I don't like that game 4 that we're seeing, but here we are in CCA, so it's to be expected that we have Minty somewhere in our map list. But we'll focus on our game 3 right now, which is tower control on ship-shaped cargo. This is a personal favorite of mine, just because I really like to pull up the Torrance Hydra right here and set up the bubble literally anywhere that a Hydra would be, and then I'm just kind of unstoppable for the duration. It's awesome.
Yeah, and ship shape being another personal favorite of mine, as we see, it's a bit more of a vertical map than we have seen, with the whole map having ledges across the entire way, which can lead to many points where you can jump off tower to take positions here. And as well as that, many areas where you can be caught in a choke point, whether it be that Great Bridge on the left or that choke in mid. There are a lot of places where you can get a bit congested here, so probably see a lot of fights happening in those areas.
Ooh, Slosher player likes map with verticality. Fork found in kitchen.
That I know, it's insane, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. You know.
It's just coincidence, you know.
Long-range Splatling player likes map that is long and has high points for them to perch on. Oh, another fork found in kitchen. But I'm glad that we can agree that this map is fun to play, at least for our weapon.
Yeah, and we can also agree that mincemeat sucks.
Well, if Skyfall wants to bring this back, they are going to have to go through Mincemeat Metalworks Rainmaker, which is, I'm pretty sure, nobody likes it. I don't think anybody likes it except for maybe the map list makers here at CCA, which we will all be subjected to their wins, but that's okay because we play this game. I was actually going to speculate whether we would still see the tent here or not, but that question has been answered as Saturday is switching to that sticker stamper on the side of Blue, in favor of the Auto Bomb and the Booyah Bomb, which can be really, really, really important here. That's what I want to say. You can also see a little bit more swaps. You have that Junior coming out for the bubble, which you can light Tetra as well, and then SMNR's having that 52 cal, so rails on the wall and that being really.
Yeah, and we're also seeing those light Tetras coming out, so we're trading out the slider for the Zipcaster, this more vertical map here. We see Inkjet being popped as they begin their push up the tower, taking out 2 on Blue. 3 on Blue down now. As we see, we're pushing right onto that Great Bridge, as mentioned before. We're already getting a lot of points down for MTSU Skyfall here. And like also to point out, this Junior here on the side of Nova, we're not underestimate this Junior. He is, well, normally thought of as a support weapon. He is someone who knows how to get his kills with that weapon. But back into the game as a whole, we see Gal going down to the Carbon Roller. But in Revenge, 2 taken back by Skyfall, continuing this push in their advantage. 3 down on Blue as well, with the Wipeout pushing into the last checkpoint here. This could be a very short game if HLG Blue isn't able to stop this push soon.
Yeah,
as we get everyone back up.
With the trip on to that, taken over from the Tower Rider there from Nova, who did unfortunately go down, but Battle Junior is nothing to laugh at. Icy Hot here on that boat, able to just hop back on, pretty much flawless cycling on that tower from MTSU Skyfall as they rolled down through that second checkpoint, which is the last one on this map as well. A Reef Slider on the right there, but not paying attention to the tower where maybe it should have been pushed. 3 remaining. We have an absolute bloodbath on the tower here. Looks like HLG Blue is coming out victorious. We have to deal with the Zipcaster, but that's going to be a 2v1, forcing SMNR out, going down into that pit. And by the skin of their teeth, HLG Blue hangs on to this.
It does not get much closer than that, but HLG was able to save this game, giving them a chance to push back here. Seems to be staggering a bit of MTSU Skyfall as they wait to get their respawns, but more just keep going down here as they take control of mid here and that tower. Cooler online. This has a making a very strong push here. Carbon bringing pressure onto that Junior, forcing them back as we are back to that Great Bridge as well as we are taking the second checkpoint. And they get it. 60 points here, 1 down on each side. See, we got that slider charged up as well, which can cause a lot of damage if positioned correctly. And does it take someone? No, it does not. And they get countered by the Zipcaster, bringing HLG Blue down on players and stopping this push in its tracks.
These Zipcasters
do-
have been absolutely huge in playmaking, and so have the Light Touch. Julius getting another pick, camping that jump there. That's 3 down on the side of blue, with Ivysaur also going down there on the side, meaning no cooler for the foreseeable future. And this Zipcaster is almost charged up yet again. No doubt that Sprinkler is doing some huge work too. The head, it really has to stay wary of that. 3 specials online for Skyfall as they continue this push. You can see the whales going out on that left side there. The Dread looking for something, but the Tetras are simply sharking. This fort is completely painted blue. Here is another Zipcaster used. Trying to get that pick. Does get a pick on the head. Bomb going onto that tower to prevent anything else, but Icy Hot has that Inkjet and is going to target Neku with it, who is forced to drop there, getting the trade there, but Nova and SMNR are still fully here and active. It looks like they're pushing that to a knockout. This set continues.
Yeah, Skyfall said, we don't care if we have 3 points on the board. We are not stopping till that number is a 0. They could have very easily, with their big bubbler and their Trace Finger, probably played a lot more defensively and tried to wall him out, but they went for that knockout and they got it there, making this a 2-1 score, bringing Skyfall back into the game.
Back into the game. That means we're going to Game 4, and you know where our Game 4 is held? It's Mincemeat. It's Mincemeat Rainmaker. These teams are going to... Yay! Oh boy.
This game is either going to last 5 seconds or 5 years. Let's go.
Yep. I can't wait to see which unit of time it is. Yeah, but these Rainmaker matches are either over in just a second, or they take the rest of the tournament. It takes the rest of the tournament. Hopefully that won't be the case. Maybe we'll see a reverse sweep come up. Maybe we'll see this brought to a Game 5. MTSU Skyfall definitely probably feels really, really good riding off of the dominant showing that they had that last match, having HLG Blue pretty much on the back foot that entire match. And also, that is kind of how that game went in our second game as well, with Clams Museum, where HLG Blue kind of surged forward in overtime and was able to, for the general majority of the game, Skyfall looked really dominant. So I wouldn't be surprised if Skyfall feels very, very good going into this game 4 game, despite what the score says.
You definitely got a point there, but you have forgotten one thing, and that is Dreadringer Reef Slider on this map is absolute hell. But
fair enough.
Biases aside.
I try not to think about this map too often. So, and I also try not to think about Reef Cheese too often. So combine those things, and this is something that I tried to bury back in the deepest recesses of my mind. Unfortunately, we're bringing it to light here.
What do you mean, unfortunately? But as well as that,
unfortunately for you,
with only one real route here, we don't push across grates unless you like dying. But only one real way to push a Rainmaker, which is through that that right side where you got to push in, quite literally an uphill battle up that ramp, and then to the side in order to get to that final checkpoint there. So we're gonna have to see which team's able to plant their feet harder into the dirt there. But we are starting off our game here with some same things, it seems, on both. Oh, never mind. We got the 96 Scowl up on the side of MTSU Skyfall, providing that vacuum support, which can be can make a lot of great plays on this game mode specifically, vacuuming onto the Rainmaker. We see both teams get a rush for that pop, and it goes to HLG Blue, it seems. That vacuum already online here. Both teams seem to be playing a bit safer than usual. You don't want to be caught down on this map mode here. Whoever gets this first advantage will get a lot of points on the board, most likely. We see we got both Bubble and Vac up now on the side of MTSU Skyfall with a pick on that Zap. Their cooler support is down, allowing MTSU to push up more and grab that Rainmaker, and popping Vac immediately on it. And will they get this checkpoint? Yes, they do, with more players going on HLG Blue here. This game seems to be moving at a breakneck pace here, as MTSU Skyfall is already pushing into their base, taking down players and their turf with it. And a slider into that bubble, completely destroying it instantly, bringing that Rainmaker to the 11 mark in under a minute.
Yeah, it looks like we're on the 5-second side instead of the 5-year side, as we're already down to 11. That Rainmaker, though, looks like Blue has finally fully played cleanup here at the tent with that bazooka at the ready should anybody dare. Looks like Nova is kind of testing the waters here, but decides not to approach here, as that Rainmaker is going to reset. 3 specials up on the side, though. Losing that Zap means no cooler right now for Blue as they try to figure out what their next plan of attack is going to be. Saturday is a little bit isolated here on the side. No teammate to work with, as that Bubbler gets popped up on the ledge up here, using that sponge to access it might be an idea that they have here, but I think Saturday is just going to try and keep control of this right-hand side, cycling over to grab this bubbler here, but forced to jump out with a combination of the big bubbler and the jet on the side of Skyfall here, who is still playing very, very dominantly in this skirmish for mid, as Nova here again on this battle junior, but still a huge amount of turf that is being put out for him.
Yes. However, we do see that Zuka being charged up on that 10, and as we know from days of beta past, that Zuka can change a game very quickly if played right. We got that Vac charged up and that Rain push. Vac being popped further up here to hold them at bay. Will Rain be able to catch up? Yes, he does, getting that protection. That Vac is out though, and specials are up on HLG Blue with 3 being taken out on Skyfall here. The tide seems to be turning. This game does not seem to be over just quite yet with another Zuka, with Zuka still charged up here.
It is absolutely not over as Blue is gunning towards that first checkpoint, losing the sap, unfortunately, but here comes the Zuka out from Saturday, and Neku is trying to follow that shield, unfortunately going to go down. Something Goggles having to deal with the Dapples, or not the Dapples, the Tetras dropping in on this flank side, very successful on that. We've seen plays coming out from them, even at the very start of this match when they got that double, going to threaten Goggles yet again, forcing that bubble out very, very defensively, and the back and Rainmaker combo coming out yet again, losing 3 though, with the Junior being the last one alive. Blue has to take this opportunity and use it to start surging forward, finally having the Tactical at an opportune time, and the Rainmaker as well going to use that Rainmaker shield to make their way up to that first checkpoint. They just have to be able to clear it and continue moving forward. That bubble coming out, and the Junior dying inside of that bubble, but the Doolies again saying absolutely not. These flanks have been relentless this whole match.
Yes, they have been, and we see MTSU losing their Gal and their Tetras right here. Although the game seems to be mostly in a neutral state as both sides are fighting over that Rainmaker. Zuka being popped, not finding any picks this time though. With that being taken out here, MTSU has the more firepower here. They're going to get the pop on this Rain. That tent holding their ground, though, impeding their push up. Getting taken out finally with MTSU Skyfall pushing in the mid to take control here. We see Bubble being placed down by that decav, and Specials being charged up and popped by MTSU Skyfall here, taking more players down with them. If HLB Blue starts to stagger more like this, MTSU Skyfall will be on their doorstep in no time.
No time, as that bubbler is at the ready and can be used as Skyfall sees fit. We're heading to the last 45 seconds here. That shield from Saturday shredded and forcing them to jump back. Goggles in mid, holding onto that pillar, trying to find a place to move up. Maybe with Saturday here, but that shield is not followed, painting a path all the way, but these bombs are going to make it so much more difficult. Saturday doesn't want to pick up this Rainmaker as they have the shield and that Zuka, 2 of which are huge tools, getting icy hot, but the Doolies coming around behind that shield and just lurking. No spot of ink is safe. We head into right at the end of this match. The Rainmaker is picked up by Blue, and they're trying. Neku's going to try and take it to the checkpoint here. Saturday putting that shield up. The Reef Slider getting canceled. Absolutely huge. The checkpoint it was down, but I say that because that is the benchmark that they have to get past. Following that shield from Saturday, but it is almost shredded as we head into overtime here. Neku is forced to back up. Goggles far, far forward, but the jet coming out from Icy Hot targets Neku. Their aim is true, and we are headed to that fabled Game 5.
Ooh. I'd say this is anyone's game now. This is both sides' last chance to earn their spot in the qualifiers here. And I also like to point out, MTSU Skyfall is a team that is very good at learning from their past mistakes, and we have seen through these later games that while they might have been staggering at first, I've seen a whole lot more focus on special coordination, especially in this Rainmaker game with that Inkvac, and we see how that's been paying off for them as well.
Yes, Inkvac being I think a strat that has been around for Rainmaker as long as the special's been around, but really making a resurgence as much as I've seen, especially in the NA League. It's very, very common for any Rainmaker map teams to swap out to a Vac weapon. The swap to that Vanilla 96 for Vac is very similar for that Vac to be able to almost guarantee checkpoints as long as it's popped correctly. And you did point out in one of the pushes that Skyfall made that the Vac was actually popped very far ahead of the Rainmaker, and I did notice that as well. I was worried whether they would be able to catch up, but they were able to get back in that Vac's area of effect, so to say.
Yeah, but that vac didn't last much longer, though. It did give a good push, but I do wonder if they would have gotten further if they were able to get back on that Rainmaker sooner. But I guess we'll never know as we move on to our final game, which is going to be on Barnacle and Dime.
Yeah, we're going back to zones as that is what our sets are bookended with here. So Barnacle and Dime zones, another relatively classic map mode combination in the comp community here. I'm sure these guys know what they are getting into. Is there something that you want to see specifically? I know you mentioned like special coordination and learning from their mistakes, but is there something specific you want to see out of either of these teams heading into our Game 5 here where everything rides on the line?
Everything on the line, indeed. I'll be very interested to see how Icy Hot handles their Tri-Stringer on this map, because if Blue continues to run leader here, we're going to see a lot of trouble here, as a lot of perches are straight sight lines at each other. So we'll see how they adapt to that here.
Yeah,
definitely interested to see.
Map affords a lot of those sight lines here.
I'm very interested to see how we, on both sides, we've seen a lot of bubble-heavy gameplay. See how we play around bubble. It could be very strong for holding zone here. And it seems we're moving into our final game here with everything on the line. What do we bring out here? Oh, we see the edit on the side of Blue. That is very interesting. With the pencil on the side of Skyfall. So what I said has been reversed. That pen, if they play their cards right, can poke that edit in some positions. So we'll see how they play around that. And we see both teams.
Goggles swapping off of that decav onto the Dreadringer. So more Reef Slider action for you.
Woohoo!
Getting that first pick here. The Shark paying off. Trinket going down to that, meaning losing the Gal loses a lot of that aggression. Nekun trying to pop up but getting caught into that bubble. We do see Goggles on that Reef Slider. Doesn't look like a very large one, so might not actually be a build meant for zone cheesing, but it does put a lot of paint on that zone and allows HLG Blue to continue with his first pick here. Trinket trying to get back in, using that wall, using the paint almost to the whales as well, going to be very important tool to provide a lot of chip damage and making the members of Blue scatter.
Well, as we saw that slider, without the special power-up, we definitely see they're playing it much more for the killing potential, which means Skyfall has to be on their toes here not to get killed by it. As we see Blue with those penalty points ticking down, this very narrow lead here, MTSU Skyfall, both sides losing players on them, with Skyfall being able to lay down more paint and take that zone. However, Blue, with the special advantage, has a very good opportunity to push back here as Zuka gets popped. Will it take anyone? One shot left. It does not look like it. But with the second one being cycled in here, MTSU Skyfall is being forced to force back into a position, defensive positions longer than they would like. However, because of that, they are still able to hold their place, taking 2 down with them, securing their current hold on the zone as it goes past the halfway mark here.
This way coming out from the Tetras, trying to call the rest of their team back. Meanwhile, Blue is recovering from this. Goggles trying to charge up another one of those Reef Sliders. A jump out from Skyfall and a pick from Saturday means that there's a lot more room for them to work with, chasing the Tetras all the way back to the very back of that left alley. Using this Reef Slider to push directly into the bubble. No picks there, but immediately gets 2 more off of 1 slosh after that. That double is going to be absolutely huge for Blue as they come and take back that zone, work through their very small penalty that they have, forcing the pencil all the way back onto this snipe point here, and they do get the pick there. That's 1 down, and the cooler comes out. So Skyfall's in a great position to respond to this as Blue starts moving forward, using that shield from Saturday, using the paint from Goggles. They have to reckon with SMNR here on this pencil, because like you said, that poking power is very, very important.
Yes, Blue's playoff hopes are getting brighter and brighter as this timer ticks down. However, MTSU Skyfall is shutting that down with Reef Slider charged up, and before it even goes off, zone gets taken with 3 down on HLG Blue, and this Carbon jumping into a very dangerous position here, causing a delayed wipeout here. Will HLG Blue be able to regroup quick enough before Skyfall burns through their penalty, and thus takes this game with them as well? We also see Cooler on the side of Skyfall here being popped, giving each of their members even greater longevity here. Zuka being popped doesn't take anyone with them though. Will the slider be able to take someone in its place then?
That is going to be the name of the game here, as that penalty is almost gone. 17 remaining for Skyfall. This slider could be make or break, but 2 members of Blue go down. This is their only tool to get back into the zone, and they are being pushed on all sides, forced to finally pop it here on the corner of the zone, but it is not enough to take it, and Skyfall, with that knockout, will take a reverse sweep against HLG Blue here in Division 1 semis.
Yes, and with that, MTSU Skyfall has secured their position in the Division One playoffs as well. But good game played on both sides. It was definitely a very back and forth set we just witnessed here. And
Yeah,
as
very
we
much so.
saw, mhm. And as we saw that Penn was able to really push that edit in positions they didn't want to be in due to the flatness of this map, and we saw some slider action on both sides as well with that Tetra and Dread. And though Blue had a very good push halfway through that game there, it was not enough to end Skyfall's game, despite how close it got.
Yes, indeed. The 2-3 is heartbreaking. But they had some really good plays, especially in those first couple games. You were also mentioning Skyfall being able to learn from their past mistakes and learn from their opponents, and I think that's really obvious here in the way that the set went and how the momentum shifted as Skyfall was able to learn from their mistakes against Blue and eventually take the win in the reverse sweep here. With that, that is actually going to be it for us two, on our commentary block as we get ready to hand the mic over for our second half of the stream to DRF and Kyon, a classic duo that we love to see here on the CCA stream. Before we go though, Mistaj, where can the people in the audience find you on the internet?
I'm not the most active out on social media, but if you want to see what I get up to on Splatoon, you can always visit my Discord tag on my Sendu page to see what tournaments I've been up to, or just try to keep up with MTSU esports in general. You'll probably see me pop up every now and again there. And of course, on these CCA live streams, look out for me possibly popping up again sometime in these commentator seats.
You can find me very similarly around Purdue's esports, where I do some commentary and artwork for them on the NA League stream, as well as the show, which I made an appearance on last week. And you can also find me cater.inkling.social, Blue Sky Cater _ on Twitter, where I post about the streams that I do. Shout out to our streamer CKK, who is making this all possible. With that, we are going to have just a short break before we roll into the rest of Division 1. So do stay tuned and get ready for more action.
Welcome back, everybody, to the CCA Circuit Season 2 Last Chance Qualifier. I am DRF, joined by the one and only Keone, as we dive into our first qualifying match for Division 1. It is RIT Orange Ocean taking on the Drexel Dragons for the first coveted spot in those circuit finals.
You know, I'm actually really excited. I know this is probably the most typical phrase you'll hear here, but of course, teams that finish top 4, I believe out of each bracket, doesn't really matter if you play finals or not. You just got to finish top 4. Will advance, and we're looking at one of the winner semi matchups. And I think when you have a chance to auto qualify, just by winning this winner semifinals matchup, there is a lot that's at stake here. And DRF, I'm really excited to see what this first set brings us.
Absolutely, as we are looking at a best of 5 between these two teams. As we'd said, the winner does move on to the circuit finals. The loser gonna have to play one more best of 3 after this to try and keep their circuit hopes alive. But with that said, Keone, we're gonna dive right on into game number 1. It's Clamblitz on Scorched Gorge, and taking a look at the compositions, seeing a lot of familiar weapons that we know these players for.
Yeah, more notably Drexel Dragons Splatoon's one of the teams that I have had countless opportunities to cast from years past. I'm not at all shocked by the weapon choices. You notably see Grace on her pretty much her beloved weapon so far. And RIT Orange Ocean, excuse me, has Never Lucky on that slosher, which I have seen Never Lucky dish out before. But there's a lot more we can talk about. But more importantly, Drexel Dragons Splatoon has not given me a chance to break it down. They've already gotten the first push on the board. They've already taken it down to the 32-point main. And this is actually total control from basically less than minute 1. They actually might be looking for the quick 100-0 DRF here, because they have 3 clamps left. Make that 2 left to go that they're trying to find. Grace has the 2, and she already gets it. DRF, we barely had any chance to break down this game. Drexel Dragons with 2 and commits the ultimate speed run. That is game 1 going to them.
That is crazy work. What? How? I mean, they got the Nogami spawns there as well, with the right behind the basket. A couple of clamps spawned to put this one fully away. That is absolutely absurd. I cannot believe that Drexel, I mean, they've been waiting for a while. They won their previous match at this point probably about 20 minutes ago. So they have been waiting for us to get this match going, and they have been so patient along with RIT. But yeah, I think that Drexel was really itching to get out of the gates there, and they not only, kicked their way through the gate, I mean, they demolished it on their way out.
You know, normally the phrase you would hear is maybe you're a little bit rusty after a 20-minute wait. This was not rust whatsoever, and I also had to do the replay on that one because that happened as fast as you know it. That was 56 seconds of in-game clock. That just happened. 100-0 in 56 seconds.
That's almost unheard of, even with like FT Win taking on, some middle of the road teams. That okay, Drexel. Okay.
GG go next, I guess. RIT is just immediately thinking GG go next. That's really, you just have to look at that. You just have to look at past that bad start, DRF, and then just like, we gotta look at the next game. You got Manta Maria tower control now. Drexel pulled out the speedrun. I don't think you can pull off a great speedrun on tower control because it is the pace is pretty much fixed. This will give RIT a chance to actually get their bearings back, but being down 1-0 in that fashion is kind of nuts. And at this point, there's nothing really to read off of other than the dominance that Drexel showed off in full display, to say the least.
Oh, certainly. Dominance is even an understatement from that first game. So, I mean, Manta Tower being on deck next, a little bit slower. We have the fixed pace at the tower, but as we know with Manta Tower control, once you get past that final checkpoint, that's when things go downhill very, very quickly. So a lot of this game is going to have to be played in those streets between the second and third checkpoint. And that's where RIT is particularly going to have to stake their claim to make sure this one doesn't get out of hand and that they can prolong this one for, more than a minute. But, with the tower the way it is, it really should at least give RIT a better chance to get their foothold in this game.
Unless Drexel decides to modify the tower with rocket boosts and decide to speed that past the 3 checkpoints, I think we're going to be expecting this to go longer than a minute for sure. So, I mean, DRF, we queue into this second game. The thing that kind of surprised me the most was Grace switching over to the T-Tech. Now, I don't normally see Grace with that weapon choice. You normally see her playing the junior in a way where you're getting the bubbles farmed. You're going to be a crazy distraction for the opposition each time. So that's actually going to be intriguing to see how that's all going to play out. I'm not ignoring the fact that there are double buckets from RIT Orange Ocean's end. There's that Dread Ringer, there's that Tri-Slosh Nouveau, you got Coolers, you got Reef Sliders. I'm going to be intrigued to see how the 2 buckets will work together here. As RIT Orange Ocean, say the least, DRF, it's a much better start for them. They're about to break through the second checkpoint. Maybe not, but it looks like they will. So that's 2 checkpoints cleared right within the mid-range.
Yeah, and they don't look like they're ready to let up, although finally the trip strikes from Grace putting a stop on this one. 40 points remaining, so RIT off to a fantastic start here. To sort of follow up, Kyon, on what you had said about the double bucket, I mean, Manta Maria, just a bucket paradise with how many short ledges there are, and the way that, there's a lot of just walls, too, that you could hide behind, but the Slosher, a great way to counteract that, as now Drexel putting their first push together, clearing the first checkpoint on their way to the second. Specials had been used on both sides here, so there's a little bit of stagger between these specials right now, so you're not really going to see a one big gut punch out of either of these squads right now. They're really going to have to kind of rely on some team coordination and a lot of their individual main weapons to really conduct this team fight.
So basically a bunch of soft punches, if you will too, because it feels like everything's kind of happening all across the board. You get these special beams popped out here. You have the Killer Whale, kind of just dispersing the rest of Drexel Dragons all across the board. This seems to be the first opportunity that RIT Orange Oceans has. That delayed wipe should definitely get scoring on the board there. But to your point, it was kind of like a few small fights here and there, and it just didn't really materialize into anything big yet. There wasn't really an opportunity to do so. So now with RIT Orange Ocean still actually hovering this tower close to where the first checkpoint originally was, now going up, now going towards it, it's gonna be interesting to see how Drexel Dragons responds to this. There are a few members that are trying to go down. They are gonna get the trade with neutral, but neutral is not where it's going. It's actually where RIT Orange Ocean is just pushing this onto this third checkpoint rather soon. They're actually winning a lot more fights compared to how the first game went here, DRF. This could be the third checkpoint being cleared.
This is that final checkpoint where things start to unravel, and it's somehow Drexel still holding on for now, but RIT Orange Ocean not letting up on that street. Finally gonna have to concede and back up. So Drexel gets another lifeline in a place where you typically don't see second chances. So this is going to be an uphill battle for Drexel, but they'd rather an uphill battle than to be 6 feet under.
Most certainly. You do not want to be anywhere close to being 6 feet under in this particular game. And so far, I'm wondering how these specials are going to be working together in conjunction. You had that Booyah Bomb, the trip strikes were readily available. You're going to need to look for additional picks on top of the special coordination. Grace finds one onto Never Lucky, but not able to find the second. Any trade that happens here favors RIT Orange Ocean so far, so it's going to really be up to Drexel Dragons Splatoon to get the upper hand here. Gillies does have a bubble ready to go when Gillies wants to pop it, which is going to be protecting themselves on this left-hand side of the map. Everybody else is just kind of moving forward there. The Suction Bomb removes victory out of the equation, but so far, 43 seconds left. It's kind of a slow push right now, but Gillies may have found an opening. RIT Orange Oceans, though, is looking to get their defenses steady here, DRF.
They certainly are, as they find the heavy edit. 30 seconds to play. Couple of picks on either side now, but it's the wipeout on Drexel. that propels RIT Orange Ocean back in control of this tower, pushing up now. They know they don't need to push this tower far. They just need to protect the president of that tower.
Yeah, they just need to protect the tower for as long as they can. 5 seconds left to go. The question is going to be the opposing fight here from Drexel Dragons, which does not happen at all. And this is a much better response, to say the least, from RIT Orange Oceans. The first punch happened past the 2 checkpoints. The third one was just an added bonus. And what a response from RIT Orange Oceans, now tying up the set 1-1. And they definitely took that first map loss personally. They're coming into this.
Yeah, and especially with tower control Manta, as we saw with the double bucket, that was something that they were looking to sort of bring out in that Scorch Gorge game as well. It's just Manta Maria is such a better map for the type of composition that RIT Orange Ocean was trying to bring out. So I think that they really benefited from that being game number 2 here. Now, whether that's going to be something that continues for them, hopefully they got a little bit, better footing. They got warmed up a little bit against Drexel. So they're going to have to find a way to carry that over into what will be game number 3, Rainmaker on Undertow Spillway. And now this is probably even playing ground for the 2 compositions of Drexel and RIT Orange Ocean. A little bit open, but, kind of have to take a couple of different choke points through the map. So I don't really see this upcoming map mode favoring one team or the other like Scorch Gorge and Manta Maria just did.
And these and actually what the weapon I was kind of more focusing at as well from that previous game, it kind of felt like with Grace going over that T-side, they wanted another GG option available for them as well as that aggression that Manta Maria, the map itself, can provide can allow them to do. But I mean, you're up against double buckets, which is the dream, as you mentioned there, for a team that wants to run it in. Manta Maria tower control kind of showed in RIT Orange Ocean's play overall. So now you go to this, as you mentioned, the Undertow Spillway Rainmaker, and now I think this is where you could be seeing almost the similar weapons that we saw back in Game 1. I feel like some of the weapon swaps that we saw in Game 2 might have been more gearing towards how Manta Maria tower control plays as a whole, so I wouldn't be shocked if Grace goes back to her junior, but again, anything kind of basically goes at this point, especially with the fact that we got a slightly different ball game coming into Game 3.
No, and I know we talk a lot about Grace's junior here, but I'm totally okay with that because 1, I love Grace. Grace is a great person.
Yep.
And 2, juniors don't get enough love. Like, we always talk about the Pens, the Chargers, the backlines are the really focal point of a lot of compositions, but why can't the junior be? I mean, especially in a map mode like Undertow Rainmaker, that bubble can go a long ways, especially around the left-hand checkpoint. It covers so much real estate. It really does, and it can ensure that you claim that first checkpoint. As well as making sure that you can get a solid 10 to 15 points through the chokehold just past the checkpoint. So it can do a lot. It carries a lot of weight in this map mode in particular. So that's something that I would like to see them pivot back to on the side of Drexel, but we'll have to see if it's in their playbook.
As I am a huge junior fan, there might be some bias as I also ran junior with my team at Riptide, and it's a perfect weapon if you want the paint and that bubble for your team, but it ultimately depends on how your team wants to work around that bubble as a whole. We can look at it and say, okay, that should help with probably the left or even the right checkpoint if you want to get that quick first checkpoint pop too. But ultimately, the bubble placement is going to be huge. Obviously, your splat bomb placements are going to be huge for the team using the junior. In this case, we talk about Grace's junior a lot, so I wouldn't be shocked if we get to see it here. And of course, Grace going back to the junior kind of screams that T-Tech in Game 2 was more specific to Manta Maria tower control with another GG option. We are gonna hold on that thought for just a few moments here, DRF. This is we're gonna need to hold on that thought for just a few moments. What I did notice right away though is that there were 2 buckets, the 2 bucket comp that RIT Orange Ocean had, which I believe that tells me they want to stick with the comp that won them the previous game.
Gotcha. Well, I'm taking a look here. Yes. It looks like that. Yeah, they did have the wrong mode selected. So,
I
yeah.
didn't even notice it.
I didn't even notice it either, but I think they might have had TC selected. So don't go play Rainmaker after this. But you did mention the compositions there. You know, Grace was going to pull out the junior. That's probably going to stick. I feel like this counts in the rule set as you have to stick with your weapons. I don't know. Well, no, they realized it beforehand, so I guess they could switch it out.
I think if you pick the wrong mode, I think that's not as crazy as an incorrect substitution. I think this should be the one
There
you're
we
expecting.
go.
They just got it. They actually have to play They actually have to play. Okay, maybe Turple has other ideas though. What is Turple is dishing up the vanilla Rapid Blaster Pro with the ink fact. There's a few visions I can see with the ink fact itself. How it works in this particular map is going to be interesting to watch, and I'm going to have to keep some eyes on that. Otherwise, this is pretty much somewhat standard for Drexel, and RIT just going back to what got them dub, as that's Ultra Stamp finds Gillies, DRF.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'll shout out here as well is the well string, a Rainmaker staple that I feel like we just haven't seen a whole lot of recently. So excited to see this come out as well, because this well string can shred through any Rainmaker barrier in the blink of an eye, and that's something that Drexel's gonna have to be very aware of, because while Drexel's comp, you know, can shred the barrier perfectly fine, the minute you see a well string on the other end, you need to be aware of how close you are to the Rainmaker barrier every second of the game.
Yeah, and I was gonna note there too with the slight interruption there, because RIT Orange Ocean has already pushed it past that first checkpoint, especially with that wipeout. Now they're in great, they are in great control rather of Drexel's base so far, and that's an elimination on the Gillies there, which Neutral is able to rush forward, and there's only 2 members out. That is actually a really nice path to the Rainmaker pedestal. And I gotta take the clock here on this one. This is a minute and 19 seconds, slightly better, slightly worse time, but still great overall from RIT Orange Ocean. That's game number 3 going to them.
Okay, the fact that Rainmaker was as dominant as it was for RT Orange Ocean, but somehow Drexel was still faster in that Clamlet's game, really is a testament to how wild that game number 1 was. So, first of all, credit to both teams. Credit to RT Orange Ocean, because going 100-0 that quickly, especially on Undertow, can be really tricky, but if you can deliver that knockout punch in the opening minute, that's your best opportunity to do so. So they did not let that opportunity go to waste, and they handled that one so quickly, and now put themselves at match point, at qualifying point, Kyon.
You know, I feel like the pendulum's been swinging the other direction each time. Everybody's just trying to gun for fast KOs at the rate we're going there. But again, I agree. It's a testament to Drexel's first game. Another testament to RIT Orange Ocean's ability to just adapt to how this set's been going for them. Game two has been just been that methodical tower control game, and then this is just the most convincing game 3 dub I've seen from RIT Orange Ocean this set here. So we go on to Hagelfish Market Zones, the ultimate fundamentals test for anybody who's into competitive Splatoon, and then to no surprise coming into this game, it's gonna probably be the ultimate test of which team is gonna get their the stuff that they need to get the victory here. And I know for RIT Orange Ocean, ride that momentum basically onto this game 4. When be shot, the double saucer makes a return, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Certainly, Hagelfish Market is one of those map modes that it's very open, so it is going to be interesting to see. I know we just talked about how we talk way too much about backlines, but
yes,
but backlines really are the anchor of this map mode. So it's going to be interesting to see what they ultimately bring out. And whoa, RIT with quite the adjustment here. They basically threw out the entire composition from that last one and brought in something entirely new across the board.
So remember when I said that double buckets could make a return? I take all my words back. RIT Orange Ocean must have heard me. He's like, all right, we'll do you one better with I think a 3 or 4 weapon swap here. It's working out in favor for them, yeah, because that's the bamboo, by the way, with the chumps. Now we'll highlight that as well. That's the mini, which if I am not mistaken, Might have the Zuga. I might be getting my kits a little mixed up there, but that is what I got. No, it's actually might be the one with the stamp. Correction on that.
Yes.
I think that might be the stamp. There you go. I haven't seen a lot of minis with the Zuka. Otherwise, though, that is a full-scale weapon swap change. I mean, already 50 points remaining, and Drexel with another wipeout has an uphill battle to just make it back to the middle here. DRF 37 points and still counting down. RIT Orange Ocean are just trying to make sure that they can keep the zone alive for as long as they can. Immediately, I got proven wrong. Drexel gets the stop. 31 points remain, though. What a first punch that they just dished.
Certainly, that first punch was quite the disorienter. As Drexel, though, back in control of this zone, they are trying to call out Never Lucky. Never Lucky's going to have to jump out of that one. Back to a neutral zone, but Drexel is in a slightly better position here as Gillies is going to dive on in and is going to get punished for that. 3v3 situation, RIT Orange Ocean able to capitalize by flipping the zone and handing Drexel that 30-point penalty, but Drexel responds right away. Gillies going to go on in and going to be part of a trade there, not getting to pick themselves, but nonetheless, it's enough for Drexel to find a couple more picks, and they are back in control, and they are trying to deliver a gut punch of their own.
They're trying to deliver the second biggest punch we'll see in this map. And with Drexel Dragon Splatoon, they're the Booyah Bomb for pure zoning, but they don't have any specials right away. RNC Orange Ocean, that Splat NT that runs right into the bomb and the brush drops. This is for sure the lead change here. DRF, and now I gotta keep an eye on what options do RIT Orange Oceans have other than the Chumps. The Chumps paints the zone. Yes, it buys you the time, but I don't think that's gonna bother Drexel Dragon Splatoon all that much, as that bubble is there to help protect it, but it will give RIT Orange Oceans a chance for victory. RIT Orange Oceans, rather, a chance to fight back. The Whale, I think, found another one, and Victory finds one with the main weapon themselves. This has now been a crazy back and forth game in very interesting senses, to say the least here, as DRF RIT Orange Ocean now has controlled the zone.
It's been a game of runs so far. 2 big runs defining this one thus far, as RIT Orange Ocean is in control here, but it looks like Drexel able to respond and capture the zone back. And now Victory with the brush, trying to find a couple picks here, but no, Turple on that S-Blast, able to flip that battle back on its head and gain back some control as Drexel continues to move up, trying to be patient with the zone, seeing they could get an avenue through the zone, but no, they're going to run into 2 members of RIT Orange Ocean. They're going to get shut down, somehow hold on to the zone just for a bit here before RIT Orange Ocean claims it back. But Kyon, we're now in this stage of the game where both teams being very cautious. They don't want to be the one to create the game losing mistake. They don't want the other team to be able to capitalize on it, but look, it's Gillies who's able to find 2 over the ledge, and that's gonna cause this game to start to really tumble back in Drexel's favor, and Gillies smells blood, able to find 1 more, and the stagger is on.
The stagger very much on now for RIT Orange Ocean, especially if Victory going down on the right-hand side of the map, followed by a second one on the Splat NT. And DRF, I think we're going to be seeing a Game 5 momentarily here. The Chumps are going to be negated, I believe, in about a few seconds. Surely enough, Drexel responds and able to hold firm. Quite a change from where things were slowing down, and Gillies just picks everything back up for Drexel. How do you feel about a Game 5 where the winner of this one qualifying for basically the Circuit Finals, if I'm not mistaken here, and this is basically a high-stakes Game 5 coming up.
High stakes indeed, as we now go to a Game 5. Winner advances to the Circuit Finals. Loser not out of it quite yet. FSU Cosmic Eternity has gone on a loser's run and is ready to take on the loser between these two for that 4th and final spot in the Circuit Finals. So taking a look at the bracket real quick, MTSU Skyfall with the 3-0 over Long Beach Gold. They punched their ticket to the Circuit Finals in just 2 weeks. And on the other side, coming up after this set, we are going to have one more cast for you all. It is our final qualifying match of Division 1. It is going to be Long Beach Gold taking on OnSU Scarlet. And that one will be right after this Game 5. But before we get there, Robo Ramen Clamblitz. Yes, I was like,
Yes.
which mode is it? Yeah. Robo Ramen Clamblitz is where these teams are gonna have to figure out where their avenues are to get to their those circuit finals.
You know, if I see something that is very similar to how Game 1 finished, I'm gonna have a lot of words for whomever is gonna pull that off. I don't think we're gonna get to that point.
I was gonna say, I think with Robo Ramen, you're gonna get quite the opposite.
Yes.
So I agree. I will be very concerned if we somehow beat 58 seconds by either of these teams. But with Robo Ramen, the concern will probably be more so, are we going to go to 8 minutes? As we have in the past.
I don't know if I want to relive the memories of 8-minute Clamblitz games, which I have done before for the CCA in ancient times. Well, not 8 minutes exactly. I think the closest I got was 7. So it would also be very fitting if we do get a long overtime session with the way these two teams play. What I think will cause that theory to be thrown out here is both teams have had a pattern of big pushes so far. I have seen basically a few moments in the middle of each map where we do get to see those big pushes get slowed down a bit. So that's gonna be what I'm intrigued to see, is who gets the first big push of the day. The Splat NT, by the way, is gonna be switching over to Zimmy with the bubble this time. So they got a bubble option on their own. There's gonna be some bubble versus bubble action. Between the two teams here. If I'm also not mistaken, that's a Rapid Blaster Pro Dagger, which immediately goes down as well. But they are dishing that one out. So both teams. So far gonna be sticking to, well, in Drexel's case, they're gonna be sticking to what they know. RIT Orange Ocean is going back to a different bag of tricks for this particular game. I do see that Ultra Sam takes out 2. Grace and Turbo both going down. What is the end result of it so far? Looks like a lot of ground gain for RIT Orange Oceans and a lot of clans, but that's still a lot of ground that Orange Oceans can take advantage of, DRF.
They're trying to pass the clams over to Never Lucky, but Never Lucky stuck with 7, can't seem to find the 8th clam, finally gets there and scores the first power clam of the game. They will jump out, but is there a follow-up? Victory trying to create a path, but not going to be able to do so. Splatoon is able to dunk in 3 more, but it's Kirby House has those 4 additional clams to try to keep this push going. Can they get them in time? Yes, they do, piling all 4 in. But where are the rest of the clams? Drexel quickly getting back into play here to shut down this push. This one is over. 56 points remaining is where this first push lands. And that is a respectable push in the opening minute and a half.
Yeah, very respectable push rather that we saw there, and the push basically did get stalled out just because there just wasn't enough clams, and they enforced 2, which included Lucky to basically push out Drexel Dragon Splatoon with all their might. So really at the end of the day, I don't think there wasn't gonna be much extra from what we saw from the oncoming from the onslaught. But so far, RIT Orange Ocean still in really good control. It's about 2 minutes into this game, and we do get to see a few picks here and there. But there's another power clam being tossed in, but it doesn't quite break penalty until Victory casually forms the other power clam, and that breaks it home to 38 points remain. I think that will be the end of that. That will signal the end of that push. Drexel wisely picking up the free clam that was there from the previous push to spawn the second one available. So there is some firepower that Drexel Dragon Splatoon can dish, but they're gonna have to find a way to get out of their own base and get some ground back in their favor, as RIT Orange Ocean has been winning a lot of their fights, namely in key parts to basically just the coordinated team play all around, and Drexel Dragon Splatoon just being a few steps behind.
2.5 to play. Drexel, for the first time, getting some momentum going, and they're just gonna go ahead and bypass the back line to dunk the first power clam in. Max Mix with 7 clams to their name, but not gonna be able to get any of them into the basket, and this is a one and done out of Drexel. RIT Orange Ocean able to stop this one before it really gets going. It looked like Drexel had the perfect opportunity to respond, but no, RIT Orange Ocean clutching up the defensive effort and now are in full control of mid, but Drexel trying to make sure that doesn't happen. They're trying to shut down these players before they can pop any of those specials, and they're slowly doing it one by one, Keon, and none of the specials, they had 4 specials, none of them got off.
No, the only special I think that even remotely got offered the trip strikes, but you were exactly right. They could not take advantage of that as Gilly runs into the out of bounds. It's part of the map. Unfortunate there, and that could also be big because now they lose a little bit of ground near their own base towards the opposition rather. So that was unfortunately a fumbled opportunity there from RIT Orange Oceans. Drexel did a great job winning the fights, but they can't get much out of it because Never Lucky and RIT Orange Ocean responds in kind as Never Lucky responds with a double of their own. And already that potential push that could have happened got thwarted big time there from RIT Orange Ocean. Right now, if I'm looking at the map, I do not see a power claim that is available. I think the free claim also got picked up back at base because they were trying to take advantage of a push. So Drexel Dragon Splatoon has no power claim available. If they don't get one with the time left on the clock, that is going to be the game. And RIT Orange Oceans, I think, is going to do their best to make sure that that doesn't spawn at all, or they're just going to cash in on one of the power claims and then just call it a day.
30 seconds to play. Drexel trying to extend this game a little bit more, punch their ticket to the circuit finals. RIT Orange Ocean can certainly smell it now. 12 seconds to go. Grace with the power clam. 2 power clams on the side of RIT Orange Ocean. If they can find one person to get into the basket, they can dunk one of these 2 in. But at this point, there's no reason to hold on to these power clams. We're in overtime. Grace with the power clam is able to find one. It's a 2v2, but Grace gets clipped by the trip strike. That's a disaster for Drexel. The jumps are coming in desperation. Gilly's able to find one, but not going to be able to find the other. And this one is over as RIT Orange Ocean wins the set to advance to the circuit finals.
You know, RIT Orange Oceans took that game 1 personally, and they're just like, all right, we're able to run it back the next 2. We're not too worried at all. And this was definitely one of those games where they went to their bag of tricks and just like, all right, we're gonna win all of the fights that we had on the board. Great control from the entire team. They positioned Never Lucky up front to make sure that Drexel Dragon Splatoon can't even push up or even defend at all right around that first the first push where it brought them down to 56 points rain. At the end of the day, that's really all you needed, but you got to throw in a few more punches to make sure that you keep that lead safe in your hands. And masterful job on defense. Yes, you give up the one and done push, but that was just a bump. That's just a little bump in the road, to say the least. I mean, RIT Orange Ocean, they did not seem phased at all from losing that game 1. And how about that? Making their way to that CCA Circuit Finals, which I believe will be happening in a couple weeks, and that is something that they don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about playing another set just to make it bad. That is the auto bid for them.
Yes, that is the auto bid. So it's going to be RIT Orange Ocean that claims that 13th seed in those circuit finals. Drexel gonna have to play one more set to keep their finals hopes alive, and that's going to be against FSU Cosmic Eternity, who came into this as the 10th seed of the LCQ, but they have since gone on a bit of a loser's run to end up in this position, one best of 3 away from qualifying. So it's really anybody's game down in that loser's bracket. But speaking of which, Keon, we're going to jump right into our final qualifying match on the loser side of bracket. We have Long Beach Gold taking on OnSU Scarlet from Ohio State University. 2 teams with a lot of history in Division 1. Only one of them can move on.
I'm actually excited to see an Ohio State game. I don't think I've ever had to say that in the words out of me here from a Big Ten rival, but especially in Splatoon, I'm actually very excited to see what they can dish out. And Long Beach Gold, I've seen them in the CCA for as long as they have. Love to see their performance here, and I know for one of these 2 teams, at least make it to circuit finals will be awesome for them. Long Beach Gold getting swept by MTSU Skyfall in that other winner semifinals matchup that was going to be that was also another auto bid game. So Long Beach Gold has one other chance, and OnSU Scarlet after the 2-0 against Golden Barracudas now waiting eagerly for this particular match. I on one hand, am intrigued to see how far this goes, and if I am reading the format right, only this is a best of 3 if I'm not mistaken as well. So
Correct.
only two. So that margin of error gets smaller now. Instead of having to win the 3 maps, you now have to deal with 2, which means each mistake gets amplified the more the set progresses.
Absolutely. Best of 3. We, wish we could have made this like a best of 5, whatever, but given the varying number of entries from division to division, it's kind of impossible to plan, which round is actually the qualifying round. How
Yep.
far into the tournament are we going to be? So it's a best of 3. So we will see what's going on here. Or even
Do we
see.
have a thing? What situation do we got brewing here now that we're
we're taking a look
Stuff
here.
Is
See.
there stuff? Is there?
I think
stuff
they're
between the
confused
two?
about what maps to play. So Kyo, feel free to continue this conversation. I will flag this for our admins.
You know what? Don't worry. Sometimes you're gonna have to get ready to go and try to figure it out all on the fly. This is exactly how this all works behind the scenes. But yeah, no. To your point, obviously you can't really predict how far the format's gonna go because we also did have a variance of teams participating across the divisions. As DRF mentioned, I know Division 3 gonna be an interesting story. I'm sure some people will talk about, only some though. With that, so yeah, hard to predict how many teams are gonna sign up and want to participate for qualifiers. Also possibility that some teams just aren't able to make it because of scheduling. So that could have been the done deal for them too. So, but at the end of the day, you're coming in from the losers bracket, and if you wanted to continue that losers bracket run all the way through, they were gonna very likely be continuing on that best of 3 train. So the dynamics of this set does change, especially if you're coming in from the winners semifinals side of the fence. You played a best of 5, especially from Drexel's perspective. You went all 5, couldn't take it home in game number 5. For Long Beach Gold, they were already swept out of the board, so now they're gonna have to feel the pressure of having to win 2 instead of potentially losing 2. So again, the dynamics of this set changes now if you're on the loser side of the fence, or losers bracket side of the fence, excuse me, and having to look for the qualifier that way. So basically the long story short, while I was rambling around there, DRF, is you gotta be on top of your game throughout the entire best of 3.
Oh, absolutely. It's the stakes of everything up to this point in the circuit. It culminates in this. A simple best of 3 is what determines whether your season lives or dies. It's as simple as that. So you really can't quite put more stakes into this. This is why we created the last chance qualifier. We really wanted to amplify the stakes, provide one final opportunity for everybody to punch their ticket to those circuit finals, despite, not being able to qualify through that split 1 or split 2. Some of these teams, I think to a degree, even just might have played in one qualifier, called it quits, and said, we'll see you at the LCQ, because we hit our minimum to be able to play in the LCQ. So that's exactly where, some of these teams are approaching from. I believe OnSU Scarlet, I might have played in 1, if not 2 qualifiers, so this is definitely a very almost intentional route for a team like OnSU Scarlet.
The historians of CCA are pretty much accurate. They participated in the 5th and 6th qualifiers. So far, not quite making it past the 10th place marker there, and they actually did participate in the very first qualifier at the very beginning of this circuit season too. So I think it was a very deliberate choice of, all right, these guys might be a little tough, but we did have enough to get to LCQ, and that's going to be our qualifying path. And for some, I can see it being very deliberate at the end too. So that's good. So hey, at the end of the day, you just gotta deal with the cards that you're given, and you got one last chance to do it. Although again, with a slight difference in the format, excuse me. So again, margin of error just gets lower and lower right now. The more each map progresses, excuse me. So I mean, OnSU Scarlet mentioned before, they participated in 3 qualifiers. Did not place any better than 10th in those respective qualifiers there. And Long Beach, of course, I actually gonna have to dig them out here because I actually managed to get the wrong one. Whoops on that. And they also participated in three qualifiers. Their best placement, I believe, is 5th in the 4th qualifier as well. So I think with just the varying placements, I think some of them is like, all right, we may have to just do our best in the LCQ.
Yeah, and you know the LCQ. Really kind of an experiment. I mean, we've never really had a proper last chance qualifier in the Splatoon scene. So in a way, this is kind of a learning experience for all of us. So some teams are still trying to figure out the strategy around approaching the LCQ. OnSU Scarlet has made it clear that, hey, they're all in here, but so is Long Beach. I mean, it comes down to this final best of 3, starting off with Robo Ramen Splat Zone. So we were just here on Clamblitz, but it is time for some zones to begin this final set of the day, as it's going to be Long Beach Gold who gets first control of the zone, but Scarlet doing a great job of keeping it neutral despite the numbers disadvantage.
Some weapons that, by the way, strike out to me while Long Beach Gold already got the first cap. Excuse me with that. You got the Emperor Jewelries there, so that is triple splashdown available. Frozen Pro, it's been a very popular weapon out of the circuit releases. There's all, but the Tri-Stringer, which I believe the official name, if I'm not mistaken, is the Bulb's Tri-Stringer as well. That's the one with the Inkjet, nevertheless. So it's a very interesting assortment of weapons here that Long Beach Gold is dishing out with that plays to many different strengths. So I'm getting to be intrigued to see how long those weapons are going to play out here in this particular push. And so far, eliminating the Custom Blaster seems to be a step in the right direction. They're already down to 38 points remaining, but this could be a zones flip imminently here soon, as OnSU Scarlet corners 1. Actually, can't even wait. The Emperor Julius just won a fight, a 1v2, and took out 2 by their own. Yes, they did lose the zone, but that may have stalled out some of that firepower there at the end. But it doesn't look like it phased them way too much though. But Long Beach Gold, that's still a really strong push at the end.
A great opening here. Long Beach Gold continues to hold on despite OnSU Scarlet being a bit of a pest, prolonging this game, you know, flipping the zone little bit by bit, extending, their opportunities. But it's Long Beach Gold that continues to set the pace this game and have full control, as it looks like our S-Blast here is going to have to drop out just to be able to dodge a lot of the whales coming their way. But with the bow going down, the bow a little bit aggressive, this is going to open the door for Scarlet to get back in, but somehow Long Beach is the one that holds on to the zone. Finally, Scarlet gets the flip there, Kyon.
GG Booyahs is one thing. Hey, instant zone cap Booyah now becomes the other flavor that it can provide there. I think it was just a last-ditch desperation to get extra points on the board, knowing that they were in a slight disadvantage during that sequence. So, Long Beach Gold has a strong lead. We are starting to see some things kind of fall a little against their favor though, as OnSU Scarlet, they are able to find some picks. They are able to win out some of the fights that they so needed. And right now for OnSU Scarlet, with the comps that they have dished out, which rather they have a triple splashdown flavor of their own and the vanilla splash, they have a lot of paint, they have a lot of control that they can use there with that pencil. That's a lot of inky power that they can dish out at any given moment. And with the triple splashdown, which by the way just gets burned, Long Beach Gold is going to have to be pushed back even further, which might give OnSU Scarlet some time to possibly get a lead change. Oh, for sure, they might be able to get one now, as they eliminate 3 in a delayed 3 setup. The Booyah Bomb was just a desperation toss into the zone. We might be seeing a lead change here soon, especially with this push, especially with the way this push is going.
Yeah, and they have one player tagged on the bottom side, so they should be ready for them to dive into the zone here. And it looks like Long Beach Gold able to get the flip right in time. They may have lost the lead, but they still have a chance to flip it back. They've been working all game to make sure that this penalty is as minimal as possible. So this penalty should fly by, especially if you're Scarlet, who's feeling the pressure start to mount as they realize that they need to act quickly to make sure that they can hold on to this lead. They are able to find 2, but the Gal gets a little aggressive there, gonna get called out for it. So now Scarlet able to flip the zone back in their favor, but they had 60 points worth of penalty to work through. So it's going to take quite some time for them to add more points on the board and possibly find a knockout. Long Beach Gold has plenty of time to work with.
Yeah, Long Beach Gold still with a handful of seconds to play here, as something that they have been able to dish out before is some of the coordination that they needed in that early stretch of the game, but they seem to have lost it a bit after losing some of the fights or the 1v1s, if you will, across the board. This is a great opportunity for them to change the tides of this game, as they have eliminated 2, the 52 Gal, the V-Splash all going down. That's a lot of painting power and some aggro that they have lost in the middle of it. Soon to be out of the penalty points here, as Long Beach Gold, they got one special available, that's just the M parries with the triple smash. All 3 have gone down in a near instant. The delayed wipe is there. This should be the game, as OnSU Scarlet has their favor. The Booyah Bomb is the absolute cherry on top. Oh my goodness, every Booyah Bomb enthusiast is going to be screaming at the heavens for that, and that is Long Beach Gold immediately wrestling that one back in their favor. They win game 1, and the next one is the auto qualifier.
Stop it! Oh, I had to get out of my seat for that one. What? What an ending out of Long Beach Gold to secure the in a way, comeback. I mean, they had control for the majority of that game. OnSU Scarlet responded late to get the lead for themselves. It was a small lead. It wasn't much, but it was a lead late. And Long Beach Gold was not deterred at all. They really said, hey, you know, we've been in control all game long. Just give us one more shot and we'll make sure that we will take this one. And that they did. I mean, we saw back-to-back triples. We don't really know exactly how the first 3 people went down, but they all went down effectively at the same time. And the Booyah to put it away.
Yeah, I have to look back at that first triple. I had to figure out if that was a triple splash or if that was just a combination of 2 different fights happening all at once.
I think it was 2 from the splashdown and 1 from a separate fight. That's what I think happened.
That's what I saw too. But we both saw that Booyah Bomb just take out 3 at the brand. That one we can.
That one was clear as day.
That one is clear as day. There is nothing to challenge there with that. I mean, but also that was a classic case of you can feel OnSU Scarlet's like, okay, this game is getting away from us. You just gotta run right into it, and then just run, and then with the Booyah Bomb just expertly placed, knowing where they're gonna have to eventually swim to, that was just beautiful. Every Booyah Bomb enthusiast will enjoy that. But now we know what the game situation is gonna be for game number 2. Long Beach Gold. With this format, I know that the graphic does say best of 5. I believe we are in a best of 3 situation, just to give you guys just to clarify things here. This winning game 2, that is their bid to qualify for the CCA Circuit Finals here. And OnSU Scarlet, they have to win the next one just to have one more opportunity to qualify that way. But I mean, if it's anything that I've seen here in this ridiculous set, anything can really go at this point.
It really can. Anything goes at this point. So Long Beach Gold right here on qualifying point, hoping to be able to put this one away for good and punch their ticket to those circuit finals. OnSU Scarlet just trying to keep hope alive, and that they will certainly have to try to do on Clamblitz Scorch Gorge. And Keone, we had seen this one in the previous round where Drexel put it away in under a minute. So we'll have to see if this one, is any similar. I'm sure both these teams would love to win it under a minute, but I have a feeling that based off of that Splatzone's Robo game, that can be a fairly lockout heavy map. I know that Clamblitz Scorch also can be fairly lockout heavy, but both of those teams, had really good pushes in that first game. I think we're going to see more of the same here in game number 2. And for our sake, as viewers, as commentators, I certainly hope so.
Everybody loves a game 3, especially the best of 3. Players don't. The winning team, the team that is up 1-0, does not want to have to deal with the game 3 because of the great feeling of we could have easily had that in game 2. Always that fun little pizzazz there. So. A lot of things to keep in mind. I do agree, DRF. If for some reason we get the under less than a minute push to win it all, we're gonna have even more questions because it was the complete opposite of what we saw from game 1. But basically, it's gonna be anything goes here. And I know we talk about that match a lot because again, it's almost unheard of to see it end in less than a minute. Yet a lot of things have to go your way. You have to be able to win the initial fight, get the power clamps, keep the basket open, and then keep winning the fights while the basket's open. On top of it, it's good. It requires a lot to go in your way. The way that both these teams are kind of dishing out right now, I don't think it's going to be very likely. I think we could be seeing just that stalling, just that back and forth action that we saw from game number 1. So for both teams, I think they understand what they need to do for game 2. Long Beach Gold, they just want to put this one away. OnSU Scarlet needs to devise a plan to win game 2, so they get one more opportunity to qualify.
Well, game number 2, tournament circuit on the line. Let's dive right into this one, Keone, as we are seeing, I think, pretty much the same thing on Long Beach Gold, and I think mostly the same on OnSU Scarlet. So we are getting the mirror match here with the Frozen Pro and the S-Blast. So those are going to be 2 mirror matches to watch out for. You don't get to see this type of mirror match often.
I'm actually trying to remember the weapons that were dished out in game 1 for OnSU Scarlet.
Oh, whoa!
Hang on, I'm gonna take that back for a hot second. How did the Imperi Dualies even snuck their way through and get the first push of the game?
Where did they get 8 clamps from?
Where did they get 8 clamps? That is also the speedrun of the fastest push I think I've ever seen in a while. The problem though, DRF, is the follow-up wasn't there. So all it was is a great solo highlight. The problem then becomes you just gave them a free clamp to work off of. And now this could be a control push coming up here with the Booyah Bomb being thrown in to protect a possible imminent push on the line. It looks like they are carrying, oh my goodness, 2 clams, 2 power clams that they just naturally spawn. I think with the 2 squid disadvantage that they just got, they have to retreat this one back. They didn't give me time to talk about the weapons that they were just on game 1. They just went full speed ahead. Let's just get another push on the board.
Yeah, forget the weapons. Who cares about that? I mean, we got an exciting game going on now. The weapons will speak for themselves as we see a clash underneath the basket of OnSU Scarlet. Duke gonna be able to get another power clamp in. Is there a follow-up this time? With 1 measly clamp, make it 2. There's no more follow-up here as all of OnSU Scarlet is now underneath the basket in position to defend. Amnesia is trying to see if they can sneak on in, but that's not gonna be the case as this is the second push off. Only down to 64 remaining, but it looks like Long Beach Gold is feeling really comfortable just playing ultra aggressive right now. They're going to try to win this game by a million cuts.
A million cuts, and Juice wants none of those pushes to even have a chance to materialize with the double off that crab tank. So this is almost akin to NBA basing at the rate we're going here, DRF, in the modern era of just everybody's just trying to score fast and just trying to find opportunities to do so. And the way that this kind of played out is Long Beach Gold's just throwing forget caution to the wind. We're just gonna look for any openings that we can dish out and do it and just throw the clams right into them. OnSU Scarlet's trying to play this one probably as methodically as you can possibly get, waiting for the teams to move up with them and try to get a push of their own. The problem right now, though, is that they're also losing the fights while they're close to the rim, close to where they need to cash in on the power clam. So OnSU Scarlet, once again, on another opportunity to cash in on a push, has to retreat. Now Long Beach Gold has mid back in their control, and there are a handful of clams that they already have. I didn't even realize they had 16 small clams in their pocket so far.
And the Empire's had a few more before they went down there, so they had over 20 clams to work with to make that push happen, but now not in a position to do so. A little bit of a clash here in mid with 2 minutes on the clock. Nobody quite in position yet to make anything happen. It's just one pick for one pick here and there. No one able to truly capitalize quite yet, but I will say that the way this game is going right now, Long Beach Gold still in the better position because you can just see the sense of hesitancy out of OnSU Scarlet trying to make a play happen. They don't want to extend themselves too far, but they're gonna have to make a play here, and it looks like they will with 2 members going down. Okama gonna be in position now, and suddenly 2 more go down on the side of Scarlet. I mean, sorry, on the side of Long Beach Gold. So this avalanche should be on, but Juice bringing up the rear with those extra clams. This might actually still be a one and done push. Juice gonna try to extend this, able to find 2 clams in, but Amy Rose has to pop this Booyah Bomb to just hold their position, able to find the pick, but this basket is going to close. So despite the 3 down Keon, OnSU Scarlet only gets a 1+2 for their efforts.
That could have been so much worse, but for Long Beach Gold, but their defense is all at a critical point. So this is gonna be the thing you have to. This is gonna be the thing you have to keep an eye on with less than a minute to go. To add to the same 1+2, they have to do the exact same thing with the way the penalty points maths are all playing out here. So they gotta look for the power climb, which that is step 1 to this. But now they gotta figure out if they can get something going. Look at how Long Beach Gold is just trying to dive deep into OnSU Scarlet, not giving them a chance to move forward. They're just not ready for the level of aggression that Long Beach Gold is just dishing out right at them, and they just have to find multiple members down at a time. They have the missiles, they have a crab tank, they just dished up the Booyah Bomb, if I'm not mistaken, right into Amnesia. Amnesia is just gonna go down right from its placement, but about 10 seconds left to go on the clock. OnSU Scarlet has a few opportunities to go. They're gonna dish out this first power climb. I think this first power climb is about to be dished in right about now, but there are the 3 climbs. The 3 climbs literally just spawn right where the jumps are gonna happen, so they just have to be able to cash in on this push, as it looks like Juice does throw in a few. DJ takes out a few more. All that he needs to do is throw 2 clamps in, and that is what we just saw. And this set does indeed go the distance. DRF, it's game 3. Do or die for both teams to qualify for CCA Circuit Finals.
What a crazy ending, a crazy game. I mean, these two teams, it felt like both of them just really wanted it bad, but both teams did such a good job of capitalizing on each other's mistakes. That is the thing that defines this game, is that it really felt like that we should have seen bigger pushes out of both teams, but neither one could really get a grip of that ramp, of that elbow, underneath the basket area. You know, it was a couple of just quick punches there, but no one was able to deliver any sort of knockout blow. And at that point, both teams were just playing super aggressive. You know, it seemed like it was just starting to get chaotic. You could just sense the anxiety flowing through these teams, and it seemed like Long Beach Gold was going to run away with it. But of course, OnSU Scarlet, you can never count them out, and they came in clutch when it mattered most.
I'm not sure if you saw that. There was a serendipitous 3 small clams. I think I just saw that was spawned near the opposing team's basket. That was Long Beach's gold basket they need to protect. Which the math that we saw was 1+2 because it was around 13 penalty points ran and the power climb catch in was 20. So you clearly could have not asked from the deities above to put the three small clams in a great position in case things go south, and that is what we just saw right there. And yeah, to your point, Long Beach Gold right out of the game, less than 30 seconds into the game, just starts with the first punch of the game. But the problem is that the problem with when you play that aggressive but not really in tune with each other, you get these kind of small pushes that only materializes when everybody's going at the same pace as you do. OnSU Scarlet is just recognizing we can dial it back a bit, and then we can see what we can do from there. And for Long Beach Gold, to your point, you could see that OnSU Scarlet was playing hesitant, but they didn't even break through 60 points remaining, which in one push, if you get 2 power clams in, your lead is just done. It is finito. So OnSU Scarlet had a lot of lifelines to work with. They managed to work through one of them. And now we go to this Game 3 Mako Bar Tower Control. One team will not be playing the Circuit Finals this season. The other team will. That is how important this Game 3 now starts to become.
It really comes down to this. Game 3. Tower Control. Mako Mart. One team advances, one team goes home. The stakes culminating to this point. We are at the ultimate climax leading into the Circuit Finals. Kyode, I am so pumped for this. This is why we made the LCQ a thing. Let's dive on in and take a look at what hill these teams have chosen to die on.
Plenty, I'll say the least. We're gonna have talks about Luna Blasters in the distance, because Amnesia's the one dishing it out. How do you feel about a Clash Blaster, the vanilla Clash Blaster with a Zuka? Blaster purists are gonna have a lot of questions with these two weapons being dished out on the board, and we're not gonna be the ones to answer those questions for you. But the unsung hero for the weapon changes from OnSU Scarlet to N is an E-Leader. You got a lot of range to work with that E-Leader. If you're able to find picks with that E-Leader, that is not one of them. That is not the most conventional pick, but that is one of them you can get. Things can open up for you in a hurry. TJ is just spamming it like it's a pencil at this point. I'm gonna be intrigued to see if they can get some long range snipes. Either way, OnSU Scarlet takes 3 down. That's always the first checkpoint. They're looking for a lot more here, GRF.
And they should be able to find it as 2 members are down. Hydro gonna get pushed out by the flank. Somehow gonna stay alive though, just long enough to lead OnSU Scarlet on a bit of a wild goose chase. And this stalls the tower at that second checkpoint. So Long Beach Gold, thanks to Hydro's will to live, is able to stop that push. And now they're trying to flip this one on its head. They're able to find the NZAP. They have 2 specials to work with. They're going to throw the first. They find the pro. Amnesia really ready to retaliate here. They're going to call it the Clash Blaster as well. This tower barely on its way, though, beyond that halfway point. So it's going to be interesting to see how far Long Beach Gold can get on their opening push in response to that 38-point remaining opening out of OnSU Scarlet.
That's one fantastic opening can all be lost in a near instant if you can't get your stuff stored in the mid to late game. That's the scary thing that can happen here with how strong that last push went and how that almost materialized. But OnSU Scarlet was able to hold them off for just a little bit longer, especially with the triple down situation that we just saw. And now for OnSU Scarlet, with Okamu actually rather getting the E-Leader, it was TJ that was actually getting a few shots with the Pro, excuse me. That is gonna. I'm gonna be intrigued to see how this push can actually go, because that is the Waybreaker that is gonna be used. There is the Clash Blaster that has dropped, though, that will stall this one out for just a bit. There, TJ falls up with a pick onto the M-Parries, and that is the tower just approaching the second checkpoint, just no one able to break it through quite yet. Long Beach Gold is holding their defenses strong right across that second checkpoint with everybody they're just throwing into them, and they're able to hold them off for just a little bit longer, DRF.
No more points gained by OnSU Scarlet as Amnesia continues to go on a tear here in game number 3, trying to keep Long Beach's hopes alive. It's now going to be Long Beach that resets this tower, but will they be able to get more points on the board? 2 minutes to go. Amy Rose with a nice pick there on the Zuka, I believe. And now it's going to be the Dualies that dive on in. They're able to find one. It's going to be a trade with that triple splashdown. So it's going to be back to a bit of a neutral game, but you can start to see both teams just get a little bit flustered here. They understand the stakes. They understand what is on the line here as the clock continues to tick down, and Long Beach Gold now back on the path, trying to put more points on the board.
Okamu nearly runs right into that Ultra Saiyan. If that happens, then Okamu would have not gotten the snipe onto Hydro, and that is going to stall Long Beach as a second pick. Not even the full scope of that gets the end parries, and this is when things. This is basically where your heart rate starts to move fast. You know where your situation is. You're coming down to this minute and 9 seconds left on the clock. Now you gotta look. I gotta look for a lot of things here. Also, Scarlet. I mean, the answer is simple. You just have to find the defenses. You gotta pick out the most important players that Long Beach Gold can dish out, especially if they're shutting down the team that's causing all the aggressive nonsense that they're having to deal with in the M-Parries. But for Long Beach Gold, in the same vein, you have to find several openings. Whether it's the M-Parries that's gonna help you out along with the triple smash down, or even picks with the Inkjet, which they are just popping up, which Hydro are just popping up right now. That's what they gotta have to find. Hydro does go down, but at what cost? 3 members of OnSU Scarlet. Long Beach Gold still has a lifeline left. 27 seconds left to go on the clock. DRF, do or die time right now.
Yeah, and it's gonna come down to whether Long Beach Gold can stagger these members of OnSU Scarlet. They need to find that pro, and they need to find it quickly. They can't afford for these specials to be alive. It's gonna be a 3v3 situation. Make it a 2v2 as we go down into final 5 seconds here. We should get just a little bit of overtime. It's going to be the jetpack that pops. Duke on the tower, but Duke's gonna get shut down. Buddy's gonna get on this tower, and OnSU Scarlet advances to the circuit finals in a 3-game thriller.
That Game 3, all that Long Beach Gold needed was an opening to work off of, whether it was going to be your M-Series that did so, or even the Inkjet. They understood what the plan was for the side. They needed to just find an opening just to break down OnSU Scarlet just a bit. They just couldn't find it. OnSU Scarlet recognizing, alright, we need to know where enemy 1 was. It was those M-Series, because the M-Series, especially with the sneaky pushes that they dished out in the previous game, like, all eyes are on him. We gotta get them out of there. And by the way, critical picks on to Hydro. I believe Okama got a few there with that E leader. That just meant that the Inkjet value just wasn't going to be there in the slightest. And that was just a crazy sequence of events. Goes back to the opening push too as well, DRF, where they brought it home to 38 points remaining. That's not necessarily a comfortable lead in a few senses, but they understood, all right, if we can take out those key members from Long Beach Gold, that's all we're gonna need. Got a little scary a little bit at the end. OnSU Scarlet holds on, and hey, OnSU Scarlet, welcome to the CCA Circuit Season 2 Finals for Division 1, if I'm not mistaken here, DRF. Ohio State does indeed have a representative.
They will. So that will actually conclude our Div 1, I believe. Let me see the other divs. Are the other divs also done? I think they might be. Yes, they are. So that actually concludes our LCQ, period. So nice. We know all, 16 times 5, 80 teams. 80 teams that are playing in the circuit finals across the 5 divisions, which is a lot. But let's go ahead and recap this real quick. In Division 1, we saw RIT Orange Ocean punch their ticket by beating Drexel 3-2. Drexel also going to be advancing as they win 2-0 against Florida State in that losers qualifying match. OnSU Scarlet was just on your screen. They're going to go ahead and punch their ticket alongside MTSU Skyfall. That is your 4 final teams advancing to the Div 1 circuit finals. Meanwhile, on the side of Div 2, High Tide gets the job done despite being pushed to a Game 5 by push. Coyotes Black, after starting the season in Div 1, dropped down to Div 2 and advanced to the Div 2 finals alongside the Mississippi State Sea Dogs, who had a fair bit of a scare alongside the Bull Squids. Div 3 was very short-lived. Only 5 teams joining us for the LCQ here, but A-State Black, Tamu White, Bentley Sea Strikers, and the Blind Salamander Artists claiming those 4 spots. Div 4, Oklahoma, Ferris Splatoon, Inksecutioners, and the Meme Machine all advancing. And finally, in Div 5, you have USF Teal, Idaho Varsity, Long Beach White, and the New Pulse Seahawks that claim those final spots in the Div 5 circuit finals.
Yeah, you know, I love it. I love the last chance qualifiers. It does give a team an additional chance to just make it to the circuit finals, even if they didn't crack the standings. And it's a phenomenal showing overall across the board. Div 3 being very short-lived is the understatement of the year. Let's be real. You might want to check the Sendu ink on that one, because you'll believe of that. You'll believe us after that one. I'll give a few notes here, because FSU almost on their way into a great loser to bracket run to just suddenly appear out of nowhere to take it home. I mean, Drexel Dragon Splatoon, you know them, you love them. They've been a long-standing team for a long while, so they're able to dispatch them very well. But I gotta give a lot of kudos to them. I mean, this has been a crazy. The sets we've done here just for the Autobits has been crazy, to say the least. You can feel where the stakes just get higher. When you're getting close to those auto qualifier matches, and that was just an entertaining Splatoon to watch overall.
It was very entertaining. I mean, the stakes were as big as you can get, and we saw teams, you could see the nerves play out in real time as these teams are like, oh shoot, we need to clutch up now. And in a way, yes, it creates for, a bit of chaos, very unstructured Splatoon. It's not going to be the cleanest Splatoon, but it's sure going to be damn fun.
No kidding. I mean, we saw a little bit of everything here. The crazy push, less than a minute to go on the clock. The crazy Rainmaker push, where it was just a minute and extra and change. Like I feel like we gotten a taste of basically everything that you could ask for in those auto qualifier matchups here. And DRF, I mean, in 2 weeks, you guys got the CCA Circuit Finals coming up, and I think for every collegiate team that wants to get that thing done before finals inevitably knocks on the door of every college student, I think they just want to end with a dub for their respective divisions.
Yes, so there are 5 titles on the line in 2 weeks. So join us on Saturday, December 6th and Sunday, December 7th for the Circuit Season 2 Finals. Day 1, all 16 teams from each division are going to be playing in our beloved Modified Swiss. Win 3 and move on, or lose 3 and you are eliminated. And on the flip side, day 2, it is going to be double elim for those top 8 teams from each division that do advance. So it should be a ton of fun. I know I am looking forward to it, and I think a lot of other folks are too. So you saw what we did last year. You know, we're hoping that we can kind of provide that same level of coverage. So it should be a lot of fun, Keon. I think this is, hopefully going to top what we did last year.
I hope y'all are able to top it last year as well, especially with the circuit being very, very much a very fun format, especially for, I'll go on the record, for every student coming into this fall semester who aren't going to have to worry about Thanksgiving Christmas on the at some point down the road. So hey, I'm excited to see what happens in 2 weeks across all the divisions. And I know you and the other tiers are gonna be excited to see how this all plays out.
It should be a ton of fun, but that is it for our first ever Last Chance Qualifier. Kyon, thank you so much for joining me to crown our final 4 finalists. Go ahead and plug yourself. Where can people of our chat find you?
You can probably find me still wondering how my Wolves blew 9 points in the last minute to the Suns, and having me scream at the Sky because of it. But you guys can find me on Kyon2570 Blue Sky and on Twitch. And I pretty much just do Splatoon commentary whenever I can because I love commentating this game. You, DRF, always fun commentating with you. Where can the people find you and close us out?
DRF-Splatoon on Blue Sky, Triton DRF on Twitch, but per usual, you can find me right here on the CCA channel covering all things Collegiate Splatoon. Thank you all so much for joining us for the Last Chance Qualifier. We will see you in 2 weeks for the Circuit Finals. See you then.